The world is governed by ideologies. These ideologies shape the laws, the systems, and the very fabric of society. From the leaders of nations to the systems of governance, we see these ideologies in action every day. But we've reached a point where the world has become deeply divided. A time has come when we must stop following the political extremes, the left-leaning and right-leaning ideologies, and instead turn our eyes towards something far more significant. It is time to recognize that idol worship is at the heart of it all. Enough of these ideologies. Enough of these divisions. Enough of placing faith in systems that ultimately fail us. It is time to return to something more profound. A belief in God, in faith, and in the essential principles that have stood the test of time. It is time to recognize the damage that has been done by idol worship, the worship of false idols that lead to division, hatred, and disillusionment. We live in a world that seems increasingly divided. People seem more concerned with political alignments and ideologies than with the basic universal principles that should unite us all. We see it in the fierce battles between left-wing and right-wing factions, where individuals identify so strongly with their respective sides that they fail to see the shared values that exist across both. Idol worship in modern society. Idol worship has always been a problem. From the ancient world to today, humans have a tendency to worship things that ultimately have no lasting value. In today's world, idol worship has taken many forms. It's no longer just about the golden calves or statues. It's about the ideologies we cling to and the materialism that guides our decisions. It's about placing our faith in systems and political leaders instead of something greater than ourselves. When we bow down to the altars of politics, money, and fame, we lose sight of the things that truly matter: faith, morality, and a shared sense of purpose. A divided society, brothers against brothers, sisters against sisters. We have all witnessed the rise of a deeply divided society, where families are torn apart by politics, ideologies, and disagreements. The divisions run deep, and what is worse is that these divides have often been instigated by the false idols of politics and power. Brothers turn against brothers, sisters against sisters. Parents argue with their children. Friends fight over their differing views. It seems as though the very fabric of our relationships is being shredded by forces beyond our control. What happened to the idea that we were all in this together? It is not just a political division that we face, but a spiritual one. People have allowed their hearts to become hardened, driven by ideologies and political causes rather than by a higher calling. Instead of living by values such as love, compassion, and mutual respect, we are consumed by the need to be right, to have our opinions validated, to win. But what we forget in all this is that life is not a competition. It is not about who is right or wrong. It is about how we live in relation to each other and to our Creator. The need for faith in God. It's time to stop placing our faith in the things of this world, things that are fleeting and temporary. The ideologies that we follow, the political movements that we support, the material wealth that we accumulate that will all fade away. The only constant in this world is our faith in God. And it is this faith that has the power to heal divisions and bring true peace. We are not asking for a blind belief in God. Rather, we are calling for a return to faith, a faith that recognizes the eternal truths that guide us. We want people who believe in God, who understand the importance of worship, and who are willing to bend the knee before Jesus Christ. Faith is not about following a set of rules or traditions. It's about recognizing the inherent dignity and value of each human life, and about striving to live according to the principles of love, compassion, and justice. People who believe in morality, values, and ethics. What we need today are people who have their consciences alive in their hearts, people who still believe in right and wrong, and who understand that there is a moral compass that should guide our actions. We are tired of the idol worship that has replaced these fundamental principles. We are tired of seeing people sacrifice their values for the sake of power, money, or political gain. We need people who are decent, who are kind, who are compassionate. We need people who understand that true strength comes not from power or dominance, but from humility and love. We need people who have morals, who stand up for what is right, even when it's not easy. We need people who have values, people who know that life is about more than just accumulating wealth or status. We need people who understand that life is about building meaningful relationships, serving others, and living in a way that honors our Creator. The crisis of ethics and values in our society. The crisis we are facing is not just political, it is ethical. It is a crisis of values, of morality, and of a shared sense of purpose. Too many people today are chasing after things that ultimately leave them empty. Whether it's power, fame, wealth, or the pursuit of political agendas, these things will never fill the void in our hearts. True fulfillment comes from living a life of purpose, a life dedicated to serving others, upholding values, and striving to be the best version of ourselves in the eyes of God. We have allowed idol worship to dominate our lives for too long. We have allowed ourselves to become so caught up in the pursuit of personal gain and the validation of our political beliefs that we've forgotten what truly matters. It's time for a change. It's time to recognize that the false idols we've been worshiping are leading us astray. It's time to turn our hearts back to the things that truly matter: faith, love, ethics, and values. Rejecting the idol of political extremes. The political extremes we see today, whether left or right, are but two sides of the same coin. They are both products of the same idol worship, the worship of power, control, and division. When we place all our faith in political movements or leaders, we forget the very thing that makes us human: the ability to choose love, to choose unity, to choose what is right. We can no longer afford to be driven by the false idols of politics. We must rise above the divisions and recognize that our true allegiance must lie with the higher calling of faith, morality, and ethics. The call for decency, morality, and faith. The world is at a crossroads. We can continue down the path of division and idol worship, or we can choose a different path, a path that leads to healing, unity, and peace. The time has come to reject the idols that have been set before us. We must reject the worship of political power, material wealth, and personal gain. We must return to the faith that binds us together as human beings, a faith in God, in Jesus Christ, and in the timeless values that guide us. We need people who believe in God. We need people who are willing to bend the knee in worship of Jesus Christ. We need people from all walks of life who still have a conscience alive in their hearts. We need people who are decent, who have morals, who have values, and who understand the importance of ethics. It's time for a spiritual awakening. It's time to turn away from the idol worship that has consumed us and to embrace a life of faith, morality, and purpose. If you've resonated with the message today, it's time to take a stand. If you believe in the power of change, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges the status quo. Remember, we're stronger when we stand united. Until next time, stay true to your values and keep fighting the good fight.